Hello everyone, welcome to the video. Today we are going to solve the problem for day 4 of 30 days of Leetcode Javascript challenge. So today's problem is based on the topic basic array transforms. So this question is apply transform over each element in an array. So basically transform is something like you are given an array and you have to apply some type of function that is like it's given as an input. So you have to just call that input for each element, and whatever the value that function will return, you have to store in a new array and you have to return that. So the problem statement states that, like, given an integer array arr and a mapping function fn, return a new array with a transformation applied to each element. The returned array should be created such that returned array at ith index should be equal to function called arr of I and the index number. That is the value at ith index and the index number. So this is this function will be provided to us. Like, if when we will be calling the function for the element, then we have to just put this as a parameter or argument for this function. So this is just like how the function is declared in the backend of this, like how the implementation is done inside the backend of this. So we have to just call like this, and whatever value that is returned from it, we have to store in a new array, and we have to just return that array. So this is very simple problem. If we can just apply a for loop, and for each we can create a new array, and for each element arr of I, we have to just call the this function arr of I with first value as the element and second value as the index, and whatever value it returns, we have to just store in the new array and we have to return that. Okay, so we can just solve this problem. Like, we can just create a new array or result, and we can run a for each loop. So for each what it does, this for each is a like array is an object. Everything is an object, and every object has some properties and values, methods. So for each is a method that is defined in the prototype of array. So we can call this function. This function will do what it will do. It will simply call we have to just put a um, callback function inside that, and for each element will take the current element and index. Okay, and inside that we can write our logic. This is a callback function that has been passed inside. A callback function is a function that is passed inside a function. So for each is a high order function because it is taking a function as an input. So basically we are creating this function. We can create it separately also. Okay, let's create it separately, so that will make more sense. uh, Function callback, we can just write a callback here, or we can just paste. So this is the callback function, and for each element, uh, this is the current element and this is the index. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to just update the current index, and like we can push here result dot push, because the index will if we will be accessing the result of index, that it will be undefined, because we have not given mentioned the size of the array, so that we can push that element. So whatever value this function will return, we will pass the current and index here. Current will be the arr of I. So we can just write callback here. So this for each is taking a function that is callback function, and callback function is defined in such a way that the first value is the current element, that is the ARR of index. This is the ARR of index. So basically I am writing here it as a variable curr current, and index is defining the current index of the element. So I am just pushing the whatever result that is coming from the function. And here it has mentioned that whenever you are calling the function, you have to just take care that the first value is the element of the array and second value is the index of the array. So in this way, whenever now this array dot for each will call all the for all the elements, like for one this function will be called and the result will be stored inside this pushed back, and for two again the result will be pushed back, and for three again the result will be pushed back. So now our result will have the uh, result that we are requiring here, so we can return it. So it's working. Let's submit it. Okay, now there are some inbuilt functions also for doing that. There is a map function inside the arr. Like for each function there is also a function that is known as map. Here it has been mentioned that please solve it without the built-in arr dot map method. But I will be showing you like how this function works, map function. So we can just return, like we can use the const result equal to, we can map for each element arr dot map each. It also take a function that it also take a callback function that takes the current element and the index, and it returns it does some type of logic and returns some value. It will always return some value, and for that position, for that index, it will update the resulted value. Like for example here, we can directly use like function as a callback function for this, because this map was doing the we were implementing that thing. So this is the same thing that we are trying to implement. So we can just write this arr dot map, and we are passing this callback function. This callback function takes the current element and the index. That's what the map callback function takes. It also the map callback function also takes the current element and index, and it returns some value always, and that will update the resultant value. So we can just directly return the result here. So while doing development or any project, anything, so this map function is very important. Like we have whenever we require a lot of time to change the array elements, because whenever we get some type of data, mostly we get some type of array in our projects, or whenever we are doing an internship or any job. So at that time this map function helps a lot. That's why this that this this question basically tells how map function is implemented. So it's taking the arr inside it, but in the normal javascript this map function is defined in the prototype of array. So we can just call it like arr dot map. That's all about it. Map is a high order function because it's taking a function as an argument. So there are many other functions like this, like reduce. Arr dot reduce is also a function that is also a very important function. Whenever we reduce means we are reducing like we have certain elements array. Okay, and reduce means we are reducing that element to one answer, one element. So when we are reducing our array to one element, then we have to use reduce. And when we have to transform the array with certain logic for each element, so when at that time we will be using map. And for each does only it's a like a for loop. We are just traversing the array, and we can implement some logic, and we can also do all the things using simple for loop. But these functions are just for the using it directly and making the code more sensible. That's why we use these things. So that's all about this video. Thanks for watching.